Nandita ma'am, you had been such a help. I wish I have known more about computers.
Would you like to know about the history of computers, Rajesh?
Sure ma'am. Do you have any information about the history of computers?
Sure, Rajesh. Let me tell you about the origin of computers. It is very important for us to know how computers originated in our world. Then only we will have a clear understanding about cyberspace and cybersecurity. Since the early times, man had the desire to calculate. Man used to observe the things around him and slowly developed a kind of understanding about the number of similar things around him. In the early period, man counted with his fingers in his hands, and then by using pebbles and lines drawn on sand or on the rocks. Slowly, man learned how to make tools and weapons to help him in his daily routine.
Can you tell me how these calculations originated, ma'am?
Well, the history of high calculations originated after the invention of the abacus. Do you know, Rajesh, that the very first calculating machine was the abacus?
Really? I think it is still being used in schools.
Yes, Rajesh, it is still being used in schools. The abacus is a simple instrument. It is made of a wooden frame inside which beads were arranged on threads or wooden bars. Abacus assisted human beings to count beyond the numbers of fingers in his hands. Due to the similarity of its function, abacus is often called as the ancestor of the modern-day computer.
I can guess that at that time, it was quite a complicated task to run the abacus.
Definitely, Rajesh, it was very new then. Well, Rajesh, the next period of computer development took place during 17th century with the advent of Blaise Pascal.
Really? What did Blaise Pascal develop, Nandita ma'am?
The demand to calculate bigger sums became very high. Blaise Pascal invented a mechanical calculator in 17th century which had wheels with numbers. It came to be known as the arithmetic machine or Pascaline. It added or subtracted up to 8-figured long sums with a base of 10.
What after Blaise Pascal did the revolution took a new turn?
Of course, but it happened a lot of times later. For that, Rajesh, I will need to explain to you about Charles Babbage. You should know that he was called the father of the modern-day computer.
No idea, Nandita ma'am. Who was Charles Babbage?
Well, Charles Babbage, an English mathematician, first theorized that mathematical calculations could be carried out by an automatic machine. He invented how to break up calculations into simple operations. For this reason, Charles Babbage is considered the father of the computer. He finally designed the first navigational calculations in 1833. This took the form of an engine called the analytical engine. The programs and data were fed to the machine through punched cards. Punch cards was a process which was being used at that time to direct mechanical looms such as the Jacquard loom. To get the output, The machine includes a printer, a curve plotter, and a bell. The machine would also be able to punch numbers onto cards. The engine included an arithmetic logic unit. Control flow in the form of conditional branching and loops. It also consists of an integrated memory. The machine designed by Charles Babbage was about a century ahead of its time. All the parts of the machine were actually handmade. However, Charles Babbage was not able to complete the machine during his lifetime. His son, Henry Babbage, completed a simplified version of the analytical engine's computing unit in 1888. During World War II, when England and Germany was at war, the British achieved a number of success at breaking encrypted German military communications. The German encryption machine, Enigma, was first attacked with the help of the electromechanical bombs. To crack the more sophisticated German Lawrence machine, used of high-level army communications, Max Neumann and his colleagues commissioned to build the Colossus. Just after that, an American professional was given the task of completing the U.S. Census. He devised a punch card machine to store the data and also used electricity for the first time to assist in computing. With the use of electricity, it ended the mechanical computers and laid the beginning of a new way of computing. George Boole, an English mathematician, suggested electricity to be the basis of the binary system.
All these people, they were such big contributors to the inventions of the computer. It is really unbelievable.
Really, Rajesh, that was the history.
When the first computer that used electricity was invented, Nandita ma'am?
Well, the first computer that used electricity was built by USA. It was called the ENIAC. The US built ENIAC, or Electronic Numerical Integrator and Computer, was the first electronic programmable computer built in the US. The ENIAC was faster and more flexible than the Colossus. Like the Colossus, a program on the ENIAC was defined by the states of its patch cables and switches. There were 6 women who programmed the ENIAC, and so they were called the ENIAC girls. It combined the high speed of electronics with the ability to be programmed for many complex problems. It could add or subtract 5,000 times a second, 1,000 times faster than any other machine at that time. It also had modules to multiply, divide, and square root. It was built under the direction of John Mauchly and J. Presper Eckert at the University of Pennsylvania. ENIAC's development and construction lasted from 1943 to full operation at the end of 1945. However, the machine was large and weighs about 30 tons. It uses 200 kilowatts of electric power and contained over 18,000 vacuum tubes, 1,500 relays, and hundreds of thousands of resistors, capacitors, and inductors.
So it was the ENIAC which started the computer age?
Yes, but just after that, lot of new development took place. Do you know, Rajesh, when the concept of the modern computer was proposed?
No, Nandita ma'am.
Actually, the concept of the modern computer was first proposed by Alan Turing, an English mathematician, in 1936. Turing proposed a simple device that he called Universal Computing Machine. He even proved that this kind of a machine is capable of computing anything that is computable by executing instructions stored on tape. Soon after, he developed a technique by which the machine became programmable. The very basic fundamental concept of Turing's design is the stored program, where all the instructions of computing are stored in memory. Turing machines are to this day a central object of study in theory of computation. Except for the limitations imposed by their finite memory stores, modern computers are said to be Turing complete. Next came von Neumann, who suggested that the concept of the modern computer in accordance to Turing. First of these three machines was developed in 1941. They worked on vacuum tubes that made computers fast but bulky.
So it was finally vacuum tubes that solved the problem.
Definitely not. Vacuum tubes are history. Let me tell you more. Rajesh, do you know how the first and second generation computers developed into communication machines?
Please explain, Nandita ma'am.
Look, early computing machines had fixed programs. If the functions were changed, it will require rewiring and reconstruction of the machine. A stored program computer includes by design an instruction set and can store in memory a set of instructions that details the computation. John von Neumann at the University of Pennsylvania also circulated his first draft of a report on the EDVAC, which is pre-model for the second generation computer after the ENIAC in 1945. After that came the Manchester Baby. It was the world's first stored program computer. It was built at the Victoria University of Manchester by Frederick C. Williams, Tom Kilburn and Geoff Tootle. It ran its first program on 21 June 1948. At that time, it became the first working machine to contain the entire requirement which was necessary to a modern electronic computer. After the Manchester Baby was developed, a new project was initiated. The result of this development was the Manchester Mark I. New development took place soon after, and the Mark I quickly developed into the new modern computer, which was named Ferranti Mark I. It was the world's first commercially available general-purpose computer in 1951.
So, is it a Ferranti Mark I version that we use nowadays?
No, those are very old models compared to today's computer. The new computers are quite different. Do you know what happened afterwards, Rajesh?
Please explain, Nandita ma'am.
Well, in 1955, transistors were invented. Transistors replaced the bulky vacuum tubes. This was the second generation of computer development. Transistors gave rise to the second generation of computers. If compared to vacuum tubes, transistors have many advantages. They are smaller and require less power than vacuum tubes. Also, they give off less heat. Silicon junction transistors were much more reliable than vacuum tubes and had longer, indefinite service life. Transistorized computers could contain tens of thousands of binary logic circuits. The first transistorized computer and the first in the world became operational by 1953, and a second version was completed there in April 1955.
It is quite interesting that transistors replaced vacuum tubes.
Yes, even after that, further changes took place, Rajesh.
I have also heard of integrated circuits which played a vital role in the development of computers.
Yes, Rajesh. The invention of integrated circuits or ICs in 1952 provided a big opportunity for the development of computers. The next generation advance in computing power came with the advent of the integrated circuit. The idea of the integrated circuit was first conceived by a radar scientist working for the Royal Radar Establishment of the Ministry of Defense, Geoffrey W.A. Dummer, in 1952. The first ICs were invented by Jack Kilby at Texas Instruments and Robert Noyce at Fairchild Semiconductor. Kilby explained that his new gadgets as a semiconductor material. In this material, all the components which frame the electronic circuit are very much integrated. After that, Robert Noyce, an American physicist, developed the new silicon chip. His chip solved many practical problems that Kilby's had not. These chips were made of silicon, which were far more effective than Kilby's chips, which were made of germanium. The newly created ICs led to the explosion in the commercial and personal use of computers. After that came the development of the microprocessor. Intel 4004, the premier microprocessor, was first designed and realized by Ted Hoff, Federico Fagin, and Stanley Mazer at Intel.
So, the microprocessor that we have in our system is the latest invention.
So far, you can say that. However, nobody knows what new inventions may take place. Now, Rajesh, the next important thing that scientists developed is the Internet.
Yes. Now we come to the modern world, Nandita ma'am.
Yes, research scientists wanted to use the computer for multivariate purpose. This resulted in the creation of the Internet, a US Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, which goes by the acronym of APRA, decided they need to share the computer with more people located in different research institutes. These views resulted in creation of a network of shared data links, which was called ARPANET. These views were shared by many research institutes and contributions were made by various scientists to create the Internet. The Internet then became a glory for the scientists who can share information through a computer. This was the beginning of the present-day Internet era. After that, in the 1970s, various other computer networks also came up independently. These networks linked up with ARPANET. Vint Cerf, a professor, and Robert Kahan, an engineer, jointly created Common Transmission Protocols, or simply called TCP. TCP is originally meant for creating a set of rules through which every person can share a conversation with each other on the internet. It also checks that the message sent or received do not get lost along the way. The protocol type we use today is Internet Protocol, or simply called IP. The IP messages are simply routed from one place to another place. If you are sending a message to someone, then the message should go exactly to the same place where you want it to go. So, Rajesh, after the development of TCP came the development of TCP or IP.
What is that, Nandita ma'am?
TCP or IP is a function which can provide the joining of lot of networks. This creation connected the entire computers through the internet and was called the network of networks. And now it is known as the internet today. After that came the development of the Ethernet in 1973 at Xerox setup. Now, modern communication is possible due to the Ethernet. Ethernet is formed by creating a physical connection between two or more devices. To make sure that the data is delivered in proper order when large amounts of data are transferred. To make sure no amount of data get lost, a lot of layers of TCP or IP is used on top of Ethernet.
Nandita ma'am, nowadays we use computer just from our mobile phones.
Well, Rajesh, the very first mobile computers were invented in the 1980s. However, they were too bulky to carry around. Let me tell you more about mobile computers or phones. The very first mobile computers were developed by the Osborne 1 and Compaq Portable. However, they were needed to be plugged in. Among laptops, the first computers that were developed were known as grid compasses. These computers removed the electricity requirement by batteries, and with the slow development of technology, it provided an advancements in portable battery life. Portable computers became very popular in the 2000s. After that came the development of smartphones and tablets. These machines used to run on a variety of operating systems. Pretty soon, they dominated the computing world on the world. Do you know, Rajesh, how the email came into being?
Please tell me, Nandita ma'am.
After the development of the internet, a network was created. This network provided a connection between all the computers which have internet connection. So, anybody who joined the internet created a condition by which they could communicate or use it to get through the others for information by the use of email. There are now various sites which provide email services. To make the internet more effective, the modem or router was developed.
How does that help the internet, ma'am?
If you know about telegraph lines, Then it would be very clear to you, Rajesh.
As far as I know, telegraph lines transmit data between two locations through wires.
Definitely, Rajesh. However, telegraph is mostly history. Now comes the wireless technology. For this reason, the modem was developed. At first, by the use of telephone lines, communication was made through the computer. Soon after the modem came the router. The routers are now fast replacing the modems in wireless connection. The advantage of routers is that it can work as the distributor of internet service to multiple devices like the computers, tablets, and smartphones. Rajesh, you definitely know about the World Wide Web.
Sure, Nandita ma'am.
Let me tell you how it began. The idea of the World Wide Web was first designed by Tim Berners-Lee, a researcher in Switzerland in 1990. Tim Berners-Lee developed a new path of promoting communication. He pioneered a task to create a linked document on different computers at different places on one computer itself. To do this, he had developed software which used an identifying system URL, or better known as the Unit Resources Locators, and an interface called HTTP, which means Hypertext Transfer Protocol. With the passage of time, it soon became very popular. It came to be known as the World Wide Web, which is briefly called as the WWW. The WWW specially opened the gates for commercial organizations to reach out to customers around the world. Among the commercial organizations, especially the entertainment industry profited largely. Now, Rajesh, can you see how we are now so much dependable on the internet?
Definitely, Nandita ma'am. Without the internet and WWW, the work we had seems impossible.
For this reason, it is very much important for us to tighten our grip on the internet and not let anybody to break into our private computers and communications.
Definitely, ma'am. We should be more aware of our internet journeys.
Well, Rajesh, the journey doesn't end here. The journey will continue. More development are taking place in the research centers about communication and the internet.
I truly understand now. However, thanks to you for sharing so much information, Nandita ma'am.
To go for a recap of what you have learnt so far, just click on any of the buttons on the screen. Abacus. The abacus is a simple instrument. It is made of a wooden frame inside which beads were arranged on the threads or wooden bars. Blaise Pascal invented a mechanical calculator in 17th century which had wheels with numbers. It came to be known as the arithmetic machine or Pascaline. Charles Babbage, an English mathematician, first theorized that mathematical calculations could be carried out by an automatic machine. He invented how to break up calculations into simple operations. For this reason, Charles Babbage is considered the father of the computer. The US built ENIAC, or Electronic Numerical Integrator and Computer, was the first electronic programmable computer built in the US. The ENIAC was faster and more flexible than the Colossus. Turing proposed a simple device that he called Universal Computing Machine. He even proved that this kind of machine is capable of computing anything that is computable by executing instructions stored on tape. The Manchester Baby. It was the world's first stored program computer. It was built at the Victoria University of Manchester by Frederick C. Williams, Tom Kilburn and Geoff Tootle. Transistors gave rise to the second generation of computers. If compared to vacuum tubes, transistors have many advantages. They are smaller and require less power than vacuum tubes. Also, they give off less heat. Integrated Circuit, IC. The idea of the integrated circuit was first conceived by a radar scientist working for the Royal Radar Establishment of the Ministry of Defence, Geoffrey W.A. Dummer, in 1952. It replaced transistors. Intel 4004, the premier microprocessor, was first designed and realized by Ted Hoff, Federico Fagin, and Stanley Mazer at Intel. It became the latest technology in computers. ARPANET, a U.S. Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, which goes by the acronym of APRA, decided they need to share the computer with more people located in different research institutes. These views resulted in creation of a network of shared data links, which was called ARPANET. Ethernet. The development of the Ethernet in 1973 made modern communication possible. Ethernet is formed by creating a physical connection between two or more devices. After the development of the Internet, a network was created. This network provided a connection between all the computers which have Internet connection. This network is largely called email.